morning, everybody. I am live. It's 7 a.m. here. What time is it there in uh Switzerland?
It is 4 p.m. in the afternoon. I
Oh.
suppose by now everyone is leaving for the weekend.
um
So
yeah, thanks for making this work. I know that we went back and forth for a while trying to get our times all synced up here, but we made it work, and I know that folks are pretty stoked to have us talk to one another. So I think with Deathwatch being so like niche, I don't know if there's a lot of channels putting out lots of Deathwatch content other than yours and mine. Is that right?
I don't know either, to be honest. I thought maybe you know more, but yeah, it might just well be that there are not so many channels, in fact. And yeah, I suppose not so many players are playing the factions, and I never understand why. I mean, it's, in my opinion, by far the coolest Space Marine faction. Okay, I have to say Space Marine faction, but
Yeah.
I think also across the other factions, it's just such a very cool faction, and I don't really understand why there are not more of us. But hey, maybe we just haven't found them yet. Who
Yeah, I
knows?
mean, one of the video content this series I want to do is so you want to play Deathwatch, huh? And then it'll go
Ooh,
into like what books to buy, what you need to know. And the more I like when I started to outline that video, it
yeah.
got so complicated so fast because Deathwatch has a ton of moving parts. It's like
Oh, they do
it's like Eldari but with power armor, like lots of
with the
tricks.
Space Marines. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of like tricks, lots of like setting up wombo combos. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not as easy to pick up as say like Ultramarines or something, right?
Very true, very true. What should I say? I started playing in third edition. I started playing Space Marines in third edition,
Hmm.
and I tried quite a few different Space Marine chapters by now. And now I just think whenever I try them again, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. They cannot mix and match the
Yeah,
units like we can, and that to me is just, yeah, it's just not the same.
yeah, it's true. I agree with that 100%. My only other army right now is Grey Knights, which
Oh yeah,
you probably know from watching my streams. But
yes,
yeah, very different armies. And if there was one that I love all the intricacies, like when you pull off a particular move with Deathwatch, like you earned that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because like
yeah.
you had to use Brotherhood of Veterans at the right time. If you're playing AOR, like you had to
Oh
pick the right chapter tactic, right? And then you had to set
yeah,
up your buffs just so, and then you'd get your psychic powers off in just this way, and then bam, like it feels good, but it takes a lot of like nuance to really pull off those crazy plays.
it does. I think it's really the kind of army you just have to keep doing it, keep on doing the rounds. Otherwise, ah, there's too much stuff to think of.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I have a huge cheat sheet, like a list that I just go down because otherwise it's too much, you know? Like,
no, it's the same for me. I really feel old whenever I do it. It's like, okay, I have to take the notes and check the notes, and I still forget stuff. So
well, like
that's just how it
I've
goes.
I've made custom buff cards, and then I'll
Oh,
stick
that's
them
cool.
next to my unit. So I'll be
Yeah,
like, all right, this one has reroll all hits from a chapter master, and then like this one has +1 to hit, maybe from like a dreadnought aura or something, or reroll ones or whatever. And it's just because of all of our stacking buffs and then our psychic powers, and then maybe Imperial Fist is on my Indomitor kill team. Like you got to keep track of all of that. And if I don't write it down and have like visual reminders, I
yeah.
I forget everything. So
Where are the buffs? Where are the stratagems?
yeah,
Like where do you have the rerolls at different chapter
yeah,
and whatever? No. It's yeah. I mean, it is quite hard, I would say. I have a small Sisters army, or well, small. I think I can do 2k points by now, more or less. So I'm playing a little bit of Sisters next to the watch, and but it's not the same for me. I
Yeah.
just do it once in a while, and I think they are really nice, but well, just not the same.
I I I had some sisters for a bit and I just couldn't get into painting them. Like
Yeah,
they're so tiny.
yeah, they are.
What's up, Sindri? We got some folks rolling
Oh,
in
perfect.
to chat. So I just want to remind you all that please ask us questions. That's why we do these lives. They don't have to be particularly about whatever topic we're on. We're happy to go off on tangents. So with that said, though, Temora, you actually, and I am saying that right, right?
Yeah, yeah, sure,
Temor?
sure, sure. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, that's
Okay,
fine.
so not really. I'm close enough.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Uh, I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna butcher
No,
everything.
no, no, no worries. I do the same. I do the same. I do once a month, I do a video where I go through like all the relevant events for the faction. And I think I'm saying like all the events and like all the names, I'm saying everything like wrong, but it's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, so you gave us a cool outline to kind of start on, and one of the things that was at the top is what gave you your motivation to start a Deathwatch channel?
Oh yes, I'm not gonna make myself a lot of friends now from some other channels. Maybe, but it's okay. You can say it was this guy from SwissHammer. It was all him. It was all him. It's okay. I'm Swiss, so I can say that.
You're very neutral.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very neutral. No, the thing to me was when our supplement got released. As you were saying, there are not so many channels that are looking into the faction, or at least if they are, we haven't found them yet.
Right.
And what I was seeing at the beginning when the supplement hit, okay, yes, there were of course the obligatory reviews. You always have them for like every release.
Yeah.
And
Hammer and
I
everything.
thought, yeah, exactly. And I thought, well, okay, I mean, the reviews, they were okay mostly, but everyone was like saying, wow, yeah, it's a complex supplement. We're not so sure where it's going. And yeah, I think it might be okay, but yeah, we're not really sure. We have to see. And I agree, is with this supplement, it was hard to predict at the beginning, but it also felt to me like they were not looking that much into the faction. And there was a major channel that did, I think, a 20-minute review of the supplement, and they were basically saying like, take three, basically for this with
With the
15
Outriders.
outriders. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
And,
know
and
exactly
basically
what video you're talking
exactly.
about.
And yeah, that's basically it. And all the others are not so good. The Spectrus is crap. The basically, yeah, and all that stuff. And I just thought, well, I don't think that's all there is to the supplement.
Yeah. So if anybody is curious, the video he is referring to is Tabletop Titans. They
Oh,
did a they did a kill team
yes.
review, and I think like honestly at the time that's kind of the way everybody thought about it. It's not just their take. Like that was the hot take
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah, yeah,
Is like the best teams are going to be the Primaris ones with the Outriders. They're really
yeah,
chunky, they're hard to kill.
yeah,
Of course, as the edition has progressed, things have gotten more and more killy, and being tough isn't enough in a lot of ways. So the meta has just changed, right? Like so if you go look at that video, don't look at it like screw these guys, they hate Deathwatch, how could they say this? Think of it like the fact that it is 2 years old now almost, and the meta was completely different. And there is a lot of nuance in the Deathwatch book. There's like I always thought the Proteus kill teams were cool as hell because you could mix the
yes,
most types of units into them and get the most flexibility. They have the most equipment
absolutely.
options. And so now we're seeing, like 6 months, 8 months after the supplement hit, you started to see like biker Vanguard vet, objective holders backed up by tons of dreadnoughts, with rights of war and all of that. At least competitively, you saw that. So
Absolutely, I agree. I just, to reiterate again on the 15 Outriders, I just think, yeah, okay, back then they were decent, true, but also that was really like if you went to the forums or whatever you would go to fish for information, that was like the first thing you would see.
yeah,
It's like, oh yeah, 15 Outriders, 15 Outriders, and I just thought, if you're doing a thorough review of the supplement, I think you could go a bit more into things, and that
yeah,
actually got me started. And I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna try to explain the supplement and see how it goes.
nice.
And
Okay,
I thought I would be finished after a month or two, having explained everything as I see it. But stuff changes so fast. It changes so fast.
it
There's
might surprise
always
you. Yeah,
something new. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's always something new. And
I-
to me, that's like crazy because it's just not like I remember Warhammer 40K. Like back in third edition, we just played with the same stuff for so long. And now it's like, I don't know, half a year and so much changes.
yeah.
Crazy.
That's
Absolutely
true.
crazy.
That's true. Like it does move so darn fast now. Not like I'm complaining, but um I can't imagine. Like, I hear stories from my friends who played long ago. I only started playing right at the end of eighth. Like, I
Yep.
think I got my army together. I bought it from a friend, some Grey Knights, and I started getting into it. And I think it was like 3 weeks before the ninth edition book hit. I
Wow.
mean, like I got into it right at the end of eighth. Uh,
Wow. Yeah.
um,
I
so
see. I think we have a couple
I
questions
was
and a
actually
couple people
just
joining.
gonna
Fantastic.
get into
Fantastic.
that.
People
So
are awake.
yeah. One of the good things about having a live show is that you can get people from all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean,
Very
right
true.
now is not a bad time. It's 7 a.m. on the West Coast. It's 10 p.m. on the United States East Coast, and then it's So what is that in your time again? With about 3
Now we are at
or
4:15.
yeah. So we got a good
People are
spread
leaving for the
there.
weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So
Perfect.
Dorian Snyder is saying these are his two favorite Deathwatch channels. Thank you very, very much. And then Sindri has a question. So, do you
Perfect.
think that the Kill Team Strike Force AOR was a good shot in the arm for the army, or is the loss of dreads problematic?
That's a good one.
I
I
know
just wanted to say,
you. I know you
oh, sorry.
are. You're considerably less competitive minded than I am. I think. Is that
Oh,
a
I wouldn't
correct
be so
statement?
sure. I
Okay.
wouldn't be
Okay.
so sure about that,
Okay.
but we can talk about that in a moment. I was just gonna say to the other one saying like the two favorite channels, maybe we are the two only ones. So technically we are his two favorite ones, but you know what I'm saying.
You're just yep. Now you're gonna make yourself feel bad. You're being
Exactly.
too humble, my man. Accept it. Accept the praise.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. But
uh,
back to the question.
yeah.
I don't know. Do you want to go first or
Sure. So I've been playing the AOR. I took it to my last RTT. I really like. I love infantry lists anyway. So like having to like get into just infantry, like losing the dreads, all that stuff. Like it does suck. The Redemptors bring an incredible amount of firepower, long
yeah,
range. They're tough. It does suck. The specialism extremist helps a lot, but that means that you also, like I was saying at the beginning of the stream, like you have to be so targeted now and careful with how you spend your CP, where you position your army. So I think the AOR can produce as good or better results as we used to see from the Deathwatch Dread Castles way back when. Um, but it's a higher skill floor, I think. Not just skill ceiling, but skill floor. Like it's harder to pilot it well. When I get my AAR video up, I will point out like every mistake I made in every game, and it's a considerable amount because there's so many moving pieces.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
AOR is difficult to play. Like
It
that's
is.
a fact. It's rewarding, but it's very difficult to play. And I've never played a
Very true.
perfect game with that AOR ever. Like I always forget something or whatever. It's complicated. I know Michael
Costello.
Costello. Um, I think Dorian was misunderstanding my joke. I was. Thank you for the compliment. I was making fun of Temor for not just accepting it as a compliment.
Perfectly okay.
Uh,
But it's true, I don't think I ever played a flawless match with the AOR either. No, I certainly didn't. And I agree that it's quite hard to play. There is a lot to think about. But I would also say it's really what we needed, I believe. Because I think, well, the three Redemptors and the two Relic ones, I always thought these kind of lists, okay, the lists, in my opinion, they're quite easy to play compared to the AOR. But I'm gonna be a little mean and say, is it really what the supplement was supposed to be about? You know, I never felt that it
mm,
feels like really playing the faction.
yeah,
And now we have this AOR, and I think it really plays into the faction.
yeah.
And
That's a great point. AOR makes more thematic sense
yes, yes,
than what
definitely.
we were seeing played from the supplement. I mean, when they gave Dominus Aegis that buff where you didn't have to stand still to get the bubble, right?
Wow.
Because if I remember right, in eighth, if you moved the character that had the Aegis, the bubble went down. Like they had to remain stationary that turn to actually get the invul bubble. So things like that helped. But the AOR, yeah, I mean, if you want to do well in Deathwatch right now, think it's I think you're gonna want to bring the AOR. You see a lot of tournaments right now, especially with player place terrain being so prevalent. It's really hard to set up against an experienced opponent. It's hard to get your Dread Knight or your Dreadnought Castle set up with good firing lanes
Yeah,
because your opponent can block you out, can like set up defensive spots for themselves. Um, and then we're just seeing more terrain in general. Like I think in ninth we were seeing almost no terrain at the very beginning, which was awful. I think the more terrain on the board generally, the more I enjoy the game. But the more terrain on the board, the more that kind of hoses over long range, hard hitting
yeah,
firepower like Redemptors.
absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
and I think that with so many more armies out there with the mortal wound shrug, like you got Uthway, Black Templars are out now, and then AOC Armor of Contempt pretty much killed Volkite
Yeah,
Contemptors like straight away. They were already low AP. You already had people trying to give them more AP through like captain buffs and stuff like, and now that AOC is out and AOC effects, like remember Space Marines are like 28% of the meta, and then when you throw in Heretic Astartes, Chaos, like Thousand Suns, and
sisters.
Sisters,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, like you're looking at a considerable amount of the meta that is now just
yeah.
shrugging AP1 like nothing. They just don't give a shit about AP1 anymore.
Crazy, crazy.
So,
The only thing I would add to to the AOR is perhaps that I think now we are really channeled into this AOR and not playing the AOR. We still see sometimes at event people playing non-AORs, and some of them are doing okay.
yeah,
But I
absolutely.
think if something were to happen to our AOR, there's not so much left. And that's what worries me a little bit, if I'm completely honest.
I've been wanting to, for fun, play another Dreadnought Castle, but I wanted to bring Relic Leviathan, even though it'll cost extra CP. I just love that model, so I want to like put it on the table. I don't think
Yeah.
it's necessarily the most competitive list, but I think it'd be fun. So AOC does allow us, if we're playing if we're playing the normal Dreadnought Castle style play, the AOC means that you can pretty much drop the Dominus Aegis.
Yep.
Because almost nothing will get you to a 5-up anyway. Uh, I guess Tau Plasma, they have a ton of like AP4 uh, plasma out there. But even then, at least you get a save, where you didn't used to get a save at all. Unless you had the
Yeah.
Dominus Aegis, you
Well,
know? So,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think there's some play there. High AP stuff like the plasma on the Redemptors are really important right now because of AOC. Uh,
It's
so
not going to be easy against other Space Marines and sisters and whatever. That's what worries me a little, but yeah, I suppose we will see how it goes.
yeah, so you've been playing since third, but
Yes.
Deathwatch didn't come out as a faction
No,
till
no.
what,
It was
sixth,
seventh, if I
seventh?
seventh, if I recall correctly. I didn't play every edition. I started out with third because of some friends, of course, but it's okay. And so basically, in third, I just played Space Marines, and yeah, the watch didn't come out till seventh, I think. But actually pretty cool. They brought, I think, in fifth edition, they brought some. I can show it maybe to the stream. I went to the cellar to rate the cellar. Can you make it out?
I mean, it looks like they're 3D printed pauldrons and
Okay, no. They are really like the old kits you
oh,
could
wow,
use like just
that was
on
an
a standard Marines.
aggressive reaction to me saying those were 3D printed.
No, they are not. They are not. They are the originals. So, but no, the faction wasn't like legally available. I think till seventh or whatever. I didn't play every edition. I skipped
Yeah,
fourth edition. I briefly played fifth. I skipped sixth. Not because I didn't like them, just because I was doing other stuff at the
yeah.
time.
I
And then basically seventh, eighth, and ninth. So
if I
yeah,
remember right, they were like you would attach a kill team to an Imperium army or something, and you'd have like one squad that was Deathwatch originally, if I remember
I
right.
think yeah, I think there was something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me it was really seventh when I saw them finally being playable as the faction. And then for me it
Nice.
was clear, okay, that's what I'm gonna play. I have to say though, in eight I was kind of leaning towards the sisters again because I thought, they got so nice stuff out during eighth edition, and I thought, oh, that's very cool. I'm gonna do that for a while. But now with ninth, for me it was clear, okay, there's only
Yeah.
one way to go.
So Sindri is saying that the Dread Castle always seemed like a skew list, and that they prefer to play them more
Yeah.
like a scalpel, and I think that that's absolutely true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I would agree with that. I also think when that build was played in the meta, you could see people that would usually not play the faction jumping on the faction because I think it's not classic for the faction and it's easy to play, more easy to play than the usual stuff we have
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I would say the same basically.
Yeah, and then Philip is saying that the AOR fits their preferred play
Yeah,
style, and I agree. Yeah, I love, like I said, I love all infantry armies. I love all the little tricks you can do: fall back and charge, fall back and shoot, based on what unit is or what model is in the unit. I think that's all really really cool. Bikes through buildings is hilarious. Like,
it
uh,
is.
I imagine they're like being carried like pallbearers. Well,
Yeah, they
by their
put them.
by their
Yeah,
buddies, and then they'd like set him back down and he takes off.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
uh, yeah, Nids do hit hard. I haven't had to fight a harpy yet, but exocrines have always hit hard. They still do in the new um book. The maleceptors are bonkers. Malice just hit
Fortunately,
so hard right now.
yeah, fortunately, I've not played into the new units, and I hope by the time I do, they have been nerfed by the FAQ. That's kind of what I'm, aiming for.
Yeah. Well, my first match in the RTT was against Nids, and I pulled off a win, but the amount of
Nice.
mortal wounds I soaked
Yeah,
was absolutely insane.
crazy.
Yeah. Um. All right. So let's see. I got into Deathwatch because I was playing Grey Knights, and I saw the Deathwatch supplement hit, and I saw the Brotherhood of Veterans strat, and I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that, like the Brotherhood of Veterans strat was so cool.
Yeah.
Have this unit become any other unit or any
Mhm.
other Space Marine chapter for a turn, and I was just like, that is incredible. And so I immediately started like researching Deathwatch more, and then when I learned their lore, like they're all special operations,
So
like
cool.
vets pulled from various chapters, and
Yeah.
then I love all that. So as soon as I was like, all right, I guess I'm gonna go buy those Space Marine half of the Indometer box now because I got to start my Deathwatch army.
Nice, nice. And now you can have it army-wide with the Army of Renown. It's so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah, for me, it was a bit the same. For me, it was always like, I want to play that chapter. Oh no, no, I want to play that chapter now. Oh no, I want to do for this third chapter. Now I can play all the chapters
yeah.
technically.
So yeah, it is awesome. I really the army wide like you're now this chapter for one turn or one battle round is like it's so much fun. So much
Yeah,
fun.
so much fun.
Uh, that's the kind of versatility I wish the whole art like I almost wish that was just a Death Watch rule, you know, like instead of picking our doctrines, we got to just do that. But that's why you play the AOR, so you get to still do
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and what I also liked for ninth edition that we got access to the large majority of the stuff. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the Phobos units for me was like, yes, I can have the Eliminators, I can
Finally
have
got some
the
snipers.
Infiltrators. Yeah, so cool, so cool.
Uh, that actually leads me into a great question. So, as somebody who's played for so long this faction, like, how do you feel about the loss of special issue ammo on like all the Primaris and stuff? It's very specific now what can actually use special issue ammo.
Now watch me go into some rage mode. No, no, no,
No,
I won't. No, no, no,
do
no, no,
it.
no. No,
This
no, no.
is no,
No,
this is your safe place. It's okay.
no, for me, as I was saying, I was playing also a bit of Sisters in 8th edition, so I think it was mostly played towards the end of 8th edition, so I missed out on most of that kind of stuff. To me, the loss, well, yeah, it hurts. I understand why people are upset about it. I think what they implemented in 9th edition supplement, it is a little cheap. They could have done something nicer. Um, for me, it didn't matter so much because I saw all this new stuff we had and I wanted to play all the new stuff we have and all the new units we can take and combine. For me, that was really nice,
Yeah.
and so I didn't really care about the loss of it. But yeah, I think they didn't do it so nicely, or not as nicely as they could have done it.
I just think about like using drop pod, dropping in like a 10-man all storm bolters and opening up with special issue ammo.
Yeah,
2 damage storm bolters or another AP 30-inch range storm bolters or what like
yeah, yeah.
that sounds or +1 to wound. All of that just sounds like really really good, really really fun. But obviously that's not in the game right now. So
It isn't. Well, let me say it like this: if we had it, I wouldn't say no.
yeah,
So,
I don't
yeah.
I don't know. With some of the other stuff I see, I don't really see why having special issue ammo on all bolters that aren't the sniper rifles would be a bad thing. But maybe I'm missing something. Um,
That's actually an excellent point. I think like when the Space Marine supplement came out and then the first few releases, they were kind of like weak compared to 8th edition. And then suddenly like half a
Necrons.
year into it, yeah, and then half a year into
Yeah.
ninth edition, it became, I don't know, crazy. Like someone flipped the switch and said like, okay, guys, now we're starting ninth for real.
Yeah.
So if we think back about what happened, let's say over the course of the last half year or like the last 8 months, well, having the SAA available on a bit more stuff wouldn't be so weird now, I think. But
Yeah.
hey,
It's actually when I saw the AOR, I was kind of wondering if they might do like something to bring that back, you know,
yeah,
like but
yeah.
they didn't. Not that I'm upset with the AOR, but yeah, I
No,
do
no, I'm
wish
not.
we had a
But
little bit
yeah,
more.
I think it would have fit in, to be honest. And there is that one strat that does something similar and it's complete crap. I don't think I've ever used it.
Oh yeah, it's
I don't
called
even remember
it,
how it's called. I
I
don't
think
even
it's
remember how
just called special issue ammo, and it turns all of your weapons into heavy one when you use it though.
something. Yeah, okay.
That's yeah. So it's really good on like executor or executioner bolt rifles, and then that's it. Otherwise, it's really not good.
I don't get why they do that, but hey, whatever.
Yeah. Um. So we have Sindri says that he likes how the AOR rewards players that have a depth of knowledge for each specific chapter. I agree with that.
Yep,
Unfortunately, that depth is also one of the reasons why it's hard to get people into Deathwatch. Like when
it
they
is. It is.
even when they are um like even if they are a seasoned
Yep,
40k player, like getting them into Deathwatch, you're like, this is what you have to do at the start of the game, and there's like a list,
yep,
and then this is what you have to do at the start of every round, and then there's a
yep.
list, and then you're like, here's what you have to do at the start of your turn, and then there's a list. Like every one of those phases has some crazy list. And then you have to think about, what chapter tactic you're
Yep.
gonna be in. What doctrine do you need? Where do you need your rerolls? Like you get you're extra rewarded for making those decisions properly, and you're extra punished for making those
Yep.
decisions improperly, right? Which you'll see in my AAR because I make some horrible mistakes in my game 2, and I get tabled in like 2 turns.
Oh man,
It's
this is why
awful.
you need
Yeah,
all the cheat sheets and the
exact. It's
stickers and the cards.
yeah,
Like,
it's bad.
yeah, it's
But
bad. It's bad.
yes, I do agree. Specialism extremists would be unreal if we did have SAI uh,
Oh
on
yes.
everything. But alternatively, you could also change specialism extremists to be like all wound rolls of 4 plus automatically wound, and then make it less expensive, and you might balance that out a bit. But that's
Fair enough.
neither.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
we are way into like experimental now. I just think it
We are. We are.
I mean, did aggressors have SAI in 8th? Or were they not? Could you not take them as Deathwatch?
You could take the aggressors, but to be
Did
fair, I don't remember if they had it or not.
the Boltstorm Gauntlets have bolts in the name? So you would think that they would get SAI, but I don't know. Or yeah,
I don't
SIA.
remember.
Yeah. But I
That's
mean,
crazy.
could you imagine a bunch of Boltstorm aggressors like SAI 2 damage? pretty
That's well, okay. That would be
That'd
nuts.
be
Or
pretty
well,
fun.
maybe not. It depends on how the other factions are doing, right?
I don't know. Right now, when I see every HQ in a NIDS or maybe T7 or 8, I don't really feel that bad if I could put out a bunch
No,
of
no, no. Me
damage
neither.
to
Me neither.
shooting.
Me
So,
neither. Me neither.
um, anyway,
I was no, no, I was thinking at the beginning of ninth edition. I kind of thought, well, Space Marines deserved to be reined in a little. I mean, they were towards the end of eight, they were like super strong, and I thought like,
Iron
well, they
Hands.
kind of, yeah, well, yeah, Iron Hands, and I was kind of like, well, they deserve the nerfs a little, or like we deserve the nerfs a little. It's okay, it's okay. But now I'm not so sure anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely some codex creep, but let me
It
ask
is.
you, and chat as well. So, when a new book comes out, would you rather it be overtuned or undertuned?
Well, if I wanted to make the sales, of course I wanted to be overtuned.
So, I mean, so this is an interesting question because think of it from the point of view, right? Like we love Deathwatch. I love Grey Knights. Anytime there's any news leaks about potential models or new rules or whatever about that stuff, like I latch onto it. I'm interested in it. I want to make content
Mhm.
about it. I want to talk to people. There are people that feel that way about every army in the game. There are
Yeah.
folks that love chaos. There are folks that play nothing but nids. Those orcs players, like orcs players, just seem to be ride or die. They will play them whether they're terrible or great.
Mm.
People who play orcs love orcs. So like, remember, everyone else is out there feeling the way we are. So
Yeah.
like, if a book came out, would you rather it be like, oh my god, this is worse than their old edition? Don't even play this army. If you want to play competitive, it's terrible, and then they bring them up? Or would it be like, yeah, like it's a little strong right now, and then they tone it down in a few months, like Tau?
The way I see it is, okay, if it's freshly released and it sucks, well, that's not so nice for the people playing the
Mm-hmm.
faction. I get it. It should be somewhere in the middle, but I get it, that's hard to do. The risk, if it's too strong, is like everyone who's usually not playing the faction is going to jump on the faction. They're going to abuse the hell out of
Mm-hmm.
the supplement.
Yeah.
Then it gets destroyed by FAQs, and then the people who jumped on the factions are leaving the faction
Yeah.
again, and the people who always played the faction are left with a faction that's, well, just worse than before.
Yeah.
And for those guys, I feel really sorry, and I wouldn't want that to happen to our faction.
I see what you mean. Okay.
That's all I can say. That's all I
Yeah.
can say.
But I mean, I don't know. I see what you're saying, but the meta chasers are going to exist, like,
They will.
unless there's some perfect world, which is not possible, where every faction has 50%
Yeah.
win rate into every other
Yeah.
faction, right? There's always going to be a meta chaser. There's always
Yeah.
going to be folks that play suboptimal armies like us, even though like yes, Deathwatch is good. Is
Yeah.
Deathwatch S tier? No, it's not as good and easy to pilot as Nids or Eldar are at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
But is it rewarding? Is it fun? Are they cool models? Do I love to play the army? Absolutely. But I mean, I'm just, and when I say overtuned, I guess I should also preface this where in my mind when I ask that question, a release wouldn't be like Drukhari or Admech, where it was just like, holy shit, when those books came out,
Yeah.
right?
That
Like
was
those,
crazy.
it's like, did anybody read this?
I don't know. I don't know. I have
And
no idea.
or is it
No.
like, yeah, they are like Quins. Okay, Quins came out, they were bonkers, but
Yeah.
but then just within a few months they had the balance sheet come out that smacked them down pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't mind that Quins got their time in the sun. Now we see them right around like a 54 or
Yeah.
55% win rate, which is like, that's where you want every faction ideally. And unfortunately, as you
Ideally.
nerf some, they always go up and down.
I think what saved us as a faction so far is there are not so many. And, well, if people are rating us like these last, I would say, 8 months, we are always rated as like A.
Mm-hmm.
Not like S tier, but
Yeah,
A tier. And I mean, A tier is
yeah, it's very
pretty
good.
high up, you know.
Yeah,
But I think is not now, especially with the AR, is not so easy to play.
right.
So people
Yeah,
will not use it, unfortunately, or
yeah.
fortunately for us, maybe, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you still see like Michael Costello, best Deathwatch
Yeah,
player in the world right now,
yeah,
best in faction, all that jazz. That guy plays his heart out. He's a very good player, and he'll go 5-1. He'll go 4-1. Not to say Mike isn't playing his heart out. He is. But it's
no,
it's
but
like when all he has
yeah,
to do, like all you have to do for an AOR game to go completely garbage for you is pick the wrong chapter tactic, or
yeah,
like you have one kill team with the wrong specialism in the wrong, like on the other side of the board, and you're like, oh, I thought that was that kill team,
yeah.
right? And then you're like, okay, now I don't get my wound rerolls, and this is not where I want to be. It's so, like you said, it's very it's very hard to pilot.
Yes, it's unforgiving. And I also think, well, okay, I mean, he's doing it fantastically. And I thought it was very funny because I remember I cover like the event for like I look into the events in ninth edition for I think over a year by now, and I saw his lists before the AOR, and he always had these infantry lists, and it
Mm-hmm.
was only him doing these infantry
Yep.
lists, and I thought, hey, wow, that's very interesting. And then the AOR hit, and it was like the AOR was made for him. It was like
Yeah. It's
fantastic.
yeah. I mean, he was putting out good results. Yeah, even
Yeah,
before
yeah.
the AOR.
Yeah,
I think
exactly,
I
exactly.
messaged him when the AOR launched, and I'm like, "You're welcome, dude. Like, this seems right up your alley, you know."
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Um, so Meltdown 404 says, "I would prefer to have just one book, not three." I would counteract that point with saying that if you want to play AOR, you actually need four books. And I stuck them on a baby scale, and it's just shy of 9 pounds if you bring all four of those
Oh,
books
wow.
with you. So, yay.
You
I
can do some heavy lifting with that.
I find it pretty ridiculous. I bought that Warzone book for 2 pages.
Yeah,
It's 2 pages.
yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's
Didn't they sneak the Inquisition or the Assassins? I think it was the Inquisition. They snuck into that same book. At least we have that as well. But I don't know. I think for 2 pages is ridiculous, completely ridiculous.
yeah. I don't know. Um, it it sure seemed ridiculous to me. Um, so here we'll go through some more questions here. Doran's asking, with Armor of Contempt, do you find that shooting just won't cut it? I think that mid-range shooting is kind of dead now in a way. So like AP2, AP3, like 2 damage, for instance, or 3 damage is a lot harder to stick. Where like if you just shoot out tons of like shitty, even zero AP shots, you can get a lot of wounds through, especially with specialism extremists. Like we make that Indomitor team with all the bolt guns like impossible to ignore because you could just target a knight and be like, now you're like, at least you're on your bottom bracket if nothing else. Like I have made you, I have fired at you 58 times. I have hit 52 times, and I've made you save 52 times. Like you're going to fail some of those saves, right?
Of course. Yeah, yeah. No,
Are you
no,
gonna
no.
pop a Knight Castellan that's fresh? Probably not, but you're going to really,
Yeah.
really, really, really hurt it, and you're going to make your opponent go, "Wait, excuse me, how many saves?"
That's
52 saves,
completely
please.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Completely hilarious.
Oh my god! So you can't even buy the Warzone book in Australia right now? Are you serious?
Wow.
That's
That
silly.
screams for a scan. Basically, I haven't said that out loud.
Yeah.
GW, don't nerf me.
Thank God for Wahapedia, I guess.
Oh yes,
That's
oh
so.
yes.
Yeah. I'm not gonna get into the whole like physical book thing, but I definitely have opinions.
No, yeah, me too, me too.
That's crazy. So
Oh,
we've.
did you listen in to the Warhammer Fest?
I didn't actually. I was
You
doing
didn't?
no, I was doing a live stream all day yesterday
Ah,
of
okay, okay.
the new Grey Knights game, which is great by the way. If you like XCOM style games,
Yep.
I'm really liking it. And then I've been working. So I've kind of been, and then with the whole UK time difference too, it's like by the time I wake up in the morning, already half of the leaks are out. So I'll just kind of like check in on them. But I'm stoked for squats.
You are, you are.
Yeah, I love dwarves. Like they're my
Okay.
favorite fantasy race, and so seeing them in Warhammer means like yay.
I must be the only guy who is not hyped about the squats, but
Oh really?
whatever. I have my space marines and my sisters. All is fine.
Yeah. What's chat
No,
think about squats?
that's a very good question. Most likely everyone is going to be like, squats hype, hype, hype. No, but what I thought was very interesting, I don't know if you already saw it, that in the next CA, basically we're gonna start with half the CP. Did you see that?
I did see that. Yeah, that is.
That's like holy. That's going to be very interesting. That's going to be very interesting because I think we as a faction and Space Marine in general, or at least maybe it's just me, but I like to pre-invest the CP,
Mm-hmm.
into the traits, into the
Yeah.
relics. We have so much nice stuff. And before the AOR, I think I was starting regularly with like 6 CP.
Wow. Were you?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Woo!
yeah, yeah. And now I know most people, I think they have like 8 or 9 when they
Yeah.
play the AOR. I now in my most
I,
recent list, I'm down to 7. It's not so nice, but there's really so much nice stuff to take. And I think, well, we have to see how they will do it, but just halving the CP for some armies, and I think Space Marines in general, that's going to be very interesting because if you were an army starting with like the full CP, you can say, okay, yeah, it's actually nice that I have it a bit later, but for Space Marines, I don't think it's going to be so nice because the moment we have to decide, do we take the relics and whatever else, or do we spend the CP in the first 2 rounds? Ah, that's going to hurt, I think. That's really going to hurt.
we have a very uh split response in chat about squats. So, uh,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Well, the one thing is good if squads qualify as Xenos, I
Yeah.
suppose we can purge them. We
I
can
was
purge them.
I was actually gonna ask that too. Like, I wonder what their keywords are. Like, are we gonna get an anti-squat strat as Deathwatch?
That would be nice. That would be nice. I'm up for
Yeah,
it. I'm completely up for it.
yeah. I don't think they'd let them join the Imperium and hang out if they were Xenos, but well, I don't
No, no,
know.
no.
The Imperium is full of all kinds of contradicting stuff, so
They are there.
maybe, yeah. Um, I am very curious to see how those chapter approved changes will
Yep,
affect our lists, like you said.
yep,
So
yep,
if you're
yep.
really going to start with half, I know it's to try to stop turn one, like super
Yeah,
powered
the
turns.
alpha strikes basically.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but like
yeah.
it's one of the reasons the AOR can exist is those alpha strikes because
Yes.
you like make your whole army like let's say Iron Hands, and then you make your Indomitor team in Imperial Fists. You move them up. You use a chaplain litany on them. You got your captain nearby for rerolls. Like you're doing so much to support them, and then you burn 3 CP on specialism. So you've already spent 5 CP on one
Yeah,
team on
exactly,
like turn one or
exactly.
two to try
Yeah,
to get your money's worth out of this super expensive kill team. Because otherwise, like you'll be way behind. So
yeah,
it might really adversely affect us because armies
yeah,
that don't need to dump CP to be efficient, like NIDS,
yeah.
will benefit from that more, where they can use their CP more strategically on strats that they need to get like one strategy to go off. Like they have that go back into deep strike after melee strat, and they've got things, all those tricks. And for us, we rely so much on specialism extremist, which is already 3 CP,
Yeah,
that like if you're only starting your round with 3 CP, you have none left for transhuman, you have none left
exactly.
for any defensive stuff or any rerolls or anything. So specialism would have to go down, but will probably be
Yeah.
forgotten about because we're an army that has like a couple
So
hundred
few
players or
players.
something.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, but that's what I fear a bit as well. I have to say with these CP changes. But again, we have to see how it goes. But I'm just thinking, okay, if they are halving them, they have to give us 6 extra CPs over the 5 rounds. So I don't know how are they going to do that. But let's say they do, I don't know, one extra, 2 extra, one extra, one extra. Well, I don't know, but like in our army of renown, if I have CP in round 4 and 5, it's not the
Yeah,
same as having it in 2 and 3. You know what I'm gonna
right.
do in round
Yeah.
4 and 5 is like
It's
come on.
it's like
It's a,
What
it's a
was
little
I?
weird. It's a little weird.
Yeah, so what I had read is you're gonna get 2 CP at the start of every round now instead of one, and you're gonna
Okay.
start in your list. It's in that same article. So instead of 1 CP, you're gonna get 2, but you're gonna start with
There's one
half
extra.
to
Yeah.
start your
Yeah.
to start. So instead of 12 CP for Strike Force 2,000 points
Yeah.
match play, you're gonna have 6,
Hmm.
which means in my list I'm gonna start with 3, and I'm gonna go up to 5 at the beginning of my turn. And then I may regen 1 or 2, one every round from add up to the codex, but
Yeah.
that'll be a dearth, man. Like that basically means I get to use special extremist once and then like transhuman once, and that's all my CP for the turn. It's gonna
Okay.
actually, I just thought of this. It's gonna make our like so in all the books there's kind of like stratagem bloat where there are
Yeah.
dozens and dozens of stratagems and you only use like 7
Yeah. At the max,
maybe.
something like that. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
make it so that 7 is gonna become like 5, you know? Because now even those edge cases where you're like, oh yeah, I could do this, it's like, oh, I don't have any CP left to do that anyway. Like it's gonna make it so that it's like you're gonna be more focused on those good stratagems, right? Like I
Yeah.
just said, specialism extremis and transhuman are incredible.
Yeah. They are. They are. Yeah, and maybe we will pre-invest less before the game, which I think is a shame because we have so much nice stuff, and I think it just makes the Army of Renown less efficient if you don't invest into some, extra stuff before the game.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just me needing it to play.
We have some questions and comments here.
Okay.
So, yeah, we still don't technically have a stratagem, an anti-Xeno stratagem for GSC. That is true. Michael was joking and said, think of Ospec Scan as your anti-Gene Stealer cult stratagem, because it's really good against Gene Stealer cult. But yes, they do have the Tyranid keyword, but our Tyranid stratagem only works against Synapse units, and GSC has no Synapse units, so
Yeah,
it's completely
too much for
worthless.
that. Yeah.
It's also that stratagem is so overshadowed by the AOR because it just says against a Synapse unit, rolls or hit rolls of 6 automatically wound. It's like, or I can spend 1 more CP and have all my hits automatically wound.
Yeah. Okay. I think the
It's like
choice is
it's
pretty obvious on
it's
that.
it's a bad strat. The Aldari one's good. The Necron
Yeah.
one is awesome into warrior blobs. It's not that
Yeah.
great into any other Necron unit. And trying to think, the Orc one used to be amazing, and now it doesn't matter. Except
Yeah.
it lets
Exactly.
you Overwatch twice, which is kind of neat, I guess. But otherwise, it doesn't. It's not like if an Orc wants to charge you, you're going to get charged now. There's no way to stop them. They get 3d6, like rerollable, take the 2 highest, and you're gonna subtract that by 2. Like, no one cares.
True, true. No, I think that's actually one thing about our supplement I don't like. Um, I don't think we get the amount of FAQs we should when
Yeah,
stuff changes. It's kind of like they don't remember that the supplement we have exists. And
which
we
can
have
also be a
stuff.
good thing. And I'll get to that in a second, but please continue.
If it works in our favor, but I will say, as far as the Army of Renown is concerned, they FAQ'd, I think, two things. Both were nerfs, and there are still a lot of unanswered questions, and they just
But
don't do that.
all right. So, just a real quick point. Something like any change to any chapter also buffs Deathwatch,
Yeah.
or changes Deathwatch. So like this change to salamanders where you just don't get to reroll wounds against them. In the AOR, you pick salamanders, you can do it twice in one game. You can have 2 turns where the enemy doesn't get to reroll wounds against you at all, which is pretty good. But um, I was gonna ask you, could you give me some examples of the things that were fact, but then there's still questions? I can't think of one off the top of my head. I'm sure you're
Well,
gonna remind me.
Sure, we still have the thing with the specialism, extremism, flamers. I mean, I think the UK and the US rules it not the same still. That
I
has not been answered.
oh I
Whether auto hitting flamers work or not, that
in
one has not confirmed.
I
Has
thought
not
that
been
was
confirmed.
put to
No,
rest because
no,
in the rare rules it says automatic hits count as a rolled hit roll. So I thought we just got over that.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I mean that's how
But
I've been playing it in tournaments. So
okay,
I guess
I
I'll
just
ask
never
my
used the
TOs.
flamers.
Like,
Okay,
I mean I don't really use flamers either, but
no, exactly.
I do have a dream of like dropping in a whole bunch of flamers and just drowning you in saves. Um, yeah, I hope we fix our anti-Xeno strats. There are some that are good and some that are not good. Um, like
Yeah.
the Aldari one I think needs some. Well, no, because their boats make that pretty obvious how that works. So, all right,
Well, to get back to the salamanders you mentioned before, I'm excited that we can use it, but also on the other hand, playing into salamanders as the army of renown. Ooh, we are throwing specialisms out of the window. And I have been keeping track of the event.
yeah,
Salamanders players are rising. They are on the rise. They are
mm-hmm.
on the rise.
Yeah, I believe it.
I'm not looking forward. I'm not looking forward to playing against salamanders now.
Uh,
That's that's gonna hurt.
yeah, that does suck. Like anything
Yeah,
where like the armor of contempt change kind of sucks for us too because we
yeah,
could be really targeted about what doctrine that we're in. Not to say
yeah.
it's still not good, it is good, but it's
No,
less effective and less helpful than it was.
yeah,
And you're right that things like turning off wounds sucks for us because our whole army is about giving reroll wounds in the correct like circumstance at the correct time. So especially now with the AOR where you're spending up to 30 points to
well,
give
yeah. In
these
fact,
people rerolls against.
yeah, exactly. And I
Yeah,
think in the AOR you're spending a minimum of 4 specialisms, a minimum. I think most will spend 5,
yeah,
and that's quite some points.
it is. Yeah, every one of those that you pick is effectively one vet that's not going.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're going onto the board with 5 less dudes, which doesn't seem like much, but like that could be holding a backfield objective or whatever. Um, yeah,
It is adding up, and if you're then playing into salamanders, it basically does nothing. So,
yeah. That and now is it our martyred lady is the
oh yeah, the sisters. Yeah,
is
yeah,
that
yeah.
the
They got
yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Although I still hear all the sisters playing, saying like, "Yeah, that's good, but Bloody Rose is still the
We
best
play
one."
something
Yeah,
else. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly, exactly. That
Um.
saves us at least for now. For now.
So Sindri is asking about relics, Tome of Ectoclades and or Beacon and Jealous. Are these necessary or nice to have? So I'll
I
answer
have them
that
always.
both.
Yes.
Okay,
Now I have them. That's why I only have 7 CP now.
nice.
I might have to change. I might have to change the list again.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about bringing the tome again. I haven't for a very long time. But the beacon I bring
Yep.
every single
Yep.
game. Like the
Yep.
beacon
Me
is a
too.
must have
Yep.
for me. It goes on the Primaris Bike Chaplain.
Yep.
He gets his +2 to charge aura off. You go into like Black Templar or something. You pull a kill team to you. You got a 9-inch rerollable charge. Or sorry, a 7-inch rerollable charge. That is almost guaranteed to get you in. And then with a 6-inch pile in and a 6-inch consolidate, like that beacon combo is too hard to pass up.
Yeah, no, no, that one is fantastic. I think that you really have to take. There is no choice on the matter.
Yeah. And I like movement stuff anyway. Like my
Yep.
other favorite, like the beacon is probably my favorite relic in the game. My second favorite is Grey Knights, where you target the model and they can just jump away immediately. And that's all movement. Like
That sounds very cool.
it's so yeah, it's a really, if you target them with a ranged attack, you can jump them away. Like an immediate deep strike in your opponent's shooting phase, which is nuts. That's so much extra free movement. And you can bait out stuff like, I don't know, railgun, hammerhead, and then just skedaddle.
That's
Which
very
is,
cool. Sounds very cool.
yeah. Um, the tome, though, actually, this kind of goes into a decent conversation. So, um, my old list, I could go through my old list real quick that I brought to this RTT, my last RTT. Um, I'll go really fast, and then I'll go to how I think I'm gonna switch it up.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
Captain with jump pack, mass crafted Xenophase blade. I got the Primaris Chaplain, that one bow combo I just talked about. Primaris Librarian with the two powers we always bring. Ass Blasters with
Of course.
Aquila, Indom team with Aquila, and then two melee Proteus kill teams, each exactly the same. Black Shield, Terminators, Thunder Hammers, Chain Fists, just lots of oomph. And then I brought a Spectrus kill team with four Eliminators, six Infiltrators. Um,
I love to hear it. I love to hear it.
yeah,
It's my favorite. It's my favorite.
I squeezed in that Spectres team when
Yeah,
those lookout serve or the
yeah.
bodyguards rules changed. I'm like, okay, now maybe they're not bad. But
Yes. Well,
and
the
then
Spectre skill team with the Eliminators, yes, is that the nerf you mentioned? Snipers now being good, and also the AOC. Eliminators are now nuts. They are
yeah,
now
they're so
nuts.
hard to
They
kill.
are nuts.
Like
Epic.
so they in cover they have a 2 up, and then they ignore, and then
I think
they get another if they're in cover. Yeah, if they're in cover they have a 1 up basically. Then AOC means that you ignore the first pip
yeah,
that comes in. If you're a Raven Guard and they're more than 12 inches away, they're -1 to hit. They can pop smoke and be -1 to hit
that's crazy.
anyway.
That's crazy stuff. Now,
So
all I remember is I
yeah,
think if you like now with the AOC, I think if you hit them with like AP -4, they still save on a 4 up or some crazy stuff like that. I mean,
yeah,
that's
because they
crazy.
get some, yeah,
Crazy.
the camo cloaks are
Yeah,
really
exactly,
good.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's very, very
Um,
cool.
so unfortunately, with the amount of terrain most boards had, the eliminators didn't do a whole lot. Except they did screen and
Yeah, very nice.
they did freak people out. So
Yeah, they.
be,
Oh yeah,
those two Spectrus kill team, or that one Spectrus kill team combat squatted and spread out even just a
yeah,
little bit, pretty
yeah.
much makes it so that they can't drop in your backfield, even on the wide, like
Yes.
they can't drop what they want to drop. Like they can drop a 5-man Vanguard vet unit or something, but they can't do like a Veil of Darkness big play with like 20 warriors. There's no room. They can't do that. So
Yeah.
um
I have to say, I played the Spectres since the beginning of the edition, or
mhm,
like of the. And I have to say, for me, was one of those things I thought, wow, now we have the Spectre skill team.
yeah.
I have to use it. And the Eliminators back in the days, they were like 4D, the sniper variant. And I think if you gave them the Lost Fossil, they were like 4D, one Eliminator. And that was crazy expensive, but still, I thought they were awesome to play.
Oh,
And now they are like discounted, and now they're so nice. They're
yeah.
really so nice. And I play actually 5 in the Spectres team, and I put 4 with the Helix, and
Yep.
the 5th I put in the other one with the other infiltrators because
That
now, well, as we said before, he saves
yeah.
so much now.
I was actually gonna say the Helix Gauntlet is the other bit of tech that we can do as Deathwatch that others can't. So even if they do get some hits in on that
Yeah,
-1 to hit saving on fours team, you just ignore the first bit of damage. So and
absolutely crazy.
that counts in melee too, by the way. It's not just shooting.
It's very
The
cool.
the Helix Gauntlet's pretty nice, yeah.
Yeah, no, that one is that's an epic combo. I really love it.
Uh so my new list, Unfortunately, I'm gonna try getting rid of the Spectres team. So sorry, buddy.
Oh
I'm
no, I'm crying. I'm crying.
I'm gonna bring a third melee team because I
Okay,
was I was feeling like I was missing that like extra follow-up punch.
I see what you mean.
Otherwise, a lot of this stays the same, but I am gonna bring. I'm dropping the captain. I'm
Mhm.
bringing a watchmaster.
Watchmaster, yeah.
Yep, and then I'm gonna bring the tome of Ectoclades as well. Otherwise, everything else stayed the same. Um, the melee teams changed a little bit. I still wanted heavy thunder hammers in there, so I shoved them in there. I barely made this fit. It's exactly 2,000 points, and it's 9 CP.
Points are
But
tight. The points are still very, very tight.
it's because of the specialisms, man.
Yes,
So
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
so tight. So I it was my experience that my captain, when he got into combat, would do. He was scary, but he just did very little. He either whiffed all his hits or he whiffed all his wounds, or they saved everything. Like it was really hilarious. My captain did 0 melee damage during my last RTT. But what I kept wanting consistently every turn is like, I wish my Indomitor team or this team had reroll all hits. That would be incredible. But and that's what the Watchmaster gives. And if
Yeah.
you advance him, he's going to be moving 9 on average. Um, so that's
Should
not
be
too
okay
bad.
to keep up.
Yeah,
No, no, it's not. Yeah, and I
yeah,
think that's really nice with the AOC change. We can now have him instead of something else, which we couldn't really do before. But it's cool. I haven't managed to fit him in yet. I just don't have the points, but I hope to do it
yeah.
sometime in the future.
He's good, you know. Like that combo we were just talking about with the +2 to charge. Now you could do this where you put reroll all hits on the melee team. The Indom team gets +1 to hit at range from the chaplain. Um, the Watchmaster moves up with the Indom team, so now they're hitting on 2s anyway, and they're gonna hit on 2s and they're gonna reroll 1s, and then you're gonna pull up that melee team that has reroll all hits now, so you don't really care as much about bringing some Thunder Hammers. They're
Yeah.
gonna rush in there and they're gonna do some damage. Um, so those are the kinds of things I'm thinking about bringing my Watch Master for instead.
I think the choice is nice now. I would do the same if I had the points, but we will
The
see. We will see what will happen in the future.
My problem is I don't really know what to do to like hold my backfield because I look to play the AOR and big 10-man bricks, but I'm gonna have to split one of those melee teams up.
Yes, yes,
I'm
yes.
gonna
You will
have
have.
to, and then I'll
Yes.
probably take like R&D or something, which is a completely
Yeah.
different way that I don't play. Like I don't take R&D with any of my armies usually. I take
Okay.
other stuff. Yeah, and Sindri has a great point that what is it, aspect of the codex, the ultramarines where you get back
Where you can
or
get
you
CP
roll to
back.
get, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So they brought up a great point that if CP is really restricted, then regenning CP just got even better, you know like if CP become more precious because we
Mm-hmm,
have fewer of them,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
then regenning one is even more valuable than it was before.
I was thinking along those lines as well. Where I got stuck a little, but that might be the case because I start with relatively low CP. Now,
That's true. You
that
do.
might that might be the case. No, I was thinking I might have to hold back on the CP at the beginning, so there is less chance for me to get one back every round
Mm.
at the beginning at least. So I might not want it. That was my
Oh, I see what you
line of
mean.
thinking.
So
That's
you're
but
all right. So you were thinking about like going in even
I'm saving
harder
up a
on.
little at the beginning.
Okay, okay. I see. I got you. Yeah,
I'm just gonna hide at the beginning because I have no CP.
that's what turn one is.
Yeah,
So turn
exactly,
turn
exactly,
one is
exactly,
just movement.
exactly,
It's like
exactly.
and then turn two is when everything dies.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now maybe with the CP change, it's gonna be on the third. I don't know. We will
Yeah.
see how it goes.
So how are you thinking about switching up your list now with the changes?
Um, I've made some changes. Can I maybe share with you? Um,
We can
the,
try. I haven't actually. If you want, I'll take some
I
questions and.
sent you.
Okay.
Okay, I sent you the link so you can look
Aha, got it.
at the
Yeah,
list and
I
the
can
changes I made.
easily switch over to this.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, it's in a browser, which is what I really needed to hear. So here we go. This should pop up
Excellent.
just fine.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. So, well, you might actually recognize one or the other pick. I suppose in the AOR, the HQs, we all have the same.
Well, you have a
That,
captain on bike, but yeah,
yes.
everybody has the Primaris chaplain on bike for sure. That guy is
Yeah, of
just
course, that one
too
is just
good.
amazing. You can't go without him. Even though he got a little expensive, I must say, but what can we do? There is not much choice on the matter.
He's too good, yeah.
Uh, he's too good to pass up, basically. And yeah, I loaded Nowhere to Hide into the list again. I think with the AOC, that one is really gonna help. Um, and then I have a Fortis, of course. You're gonna
Yeah,
love.
ass
You're gonna
blasters.
love that. Yeah, of course. As I was saying, you're gonna love that one. Then the heavy team, of course, with the aggressors and the one in Scepter. I think that one is also standard. You see it in pretty much any list.
Yep.
And then the two Proteus teams, I combat squad one. The other I leave as a big brick, and the Spectre's kill team I also combat squad, of course. So this gives me four small teams I can just, move around and do stuff like that. And I've found with the new missions and stuff that has really helped me. Um, so yeah, that's basically
I
my
mean, yeah.
approach for the chain being.
Does your apothecary follow around um your Indom team?
Yes, 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 yes,
Okay.
yes.
I
He
figured,
stays
but
with it. Well, the yeah, that was actually quite hard to fit him in, I have to say. That was quite hard
yes.
to fit him in. Because
Yes.
like the points are super tight. It's really, really hard to fit the guy in. But I absolutely wanted him. I think it really adds to the survivability.
Yeah, I tried to shoehorn him into one of my lists too, and I don't know. I didn't feel it personally, but again, our points are so tight. Like, um, and what makes our kill team scary is all that efficiency from our buffs on a 10 man, right? Like, the
Yeah,
buffs are
exactly.
quite literally half as effective if they go on a 5 man.
Yeah, it's just true.
You
It's
know,
true. It's true.
so, oh wow, we had some really cool um spam. That's
We are
really
being
awesome.
trolled. Oh no.
Yeah. We're gonna we're gonna go ahead and report that guy and hide everything. That is really shitty. All right. Anyway, um,
Stuff happens. Stuff happens.
yeah. Shock value.
Have you managed to get rid of him, or is he still?
He's gone. It's fine.
Oh, it's gonna. Yeah, perfect, perfect. Then we maybe get some important messages again. So, what do you think is gonna happen for Space Marines in the near future? Have you like looked at any of the so-called leaks or like stuff they said might be hitting in the future?
Yeah, I that's a good question. I don't know what Space Marines 2.0 is gonna bring. Um, that's that's the thing about Deathwatch is anything that changes Space Marines is gonna like
In the
change
end,
us
affect
too.
us. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So if if we get a points drop 15% or whatever, 10%, we'll also see that. um I don't know, there's so much they could do, any chapter tactic changes, super doctrines, all that stuff, like, well, I mean, I guess not the super doctrines, but like any chapter tactic changes we're gonna get just by
Help us.
proxy.
Yeah.
That's actually what we're talking about right now. I don't know what I mean until we see the specifics. Like we're just kind of spitballing, you know. Um,
Yeah, I think a new Space Marine release, it can really help us, but if it's not properly adjusted to our supplement, it might actually hurt us. So I'm thinking if they're adding new stuff and that stuff is unavailable to the AUR,
yeah,
it's gonna
vehicles.
be like we're gonna be in that situation like, okay, either we play the AUR, which is at the moment at least the way to do it, or we take the new stuff, but then we cannot play the AOR. That's a bit the thing I'm worried about, that it might go somewhere along those lines. But I suppose we will see when it happens.
Philip is talking specifically about uh, everyone gets new secondaries, and everyone would imply a Space Marines as well, even though Otho of Moment is already amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Um, Philip is hoping that they don't change keywords or our rules that rely on them, and then not update us. That would,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that would
Well,
really that could kill the faction if they do some keyword
well,
play.
though having said that, the keywords, well, we're missing quite a few anyway. Like the reavers don't have the keywords they need to have. The intercessors don't have some of the keywords. Like this.
Yeah, it's interesting that
That's
in our kill
really
team
bad.
they
It's
lose
really
the
bad. Yeah,
interceptor or
exactly.
intercessor
Exactly.
keyword. That's so
That
bizarre
is
to me,
so
but
bad. That is
whatever.
so bad.
I mean, I
If
think
the
it's
reavers had the reaver keyword, oh,
yeah. I would like to see buffed vehicles and tanks,
yeah,
but that would exclude you immediately from the AOR. But Space Marines as a whole, like the vehicles are pretty lame. They
they are. They
except
are.
for dreadnoughts, they don't
Of
ever
course.
do what you want them to do. They are, at least that's been my experience. The only caveat to that is the humble rhino, which
Yeah.
can be an amazing nuisance for move blocking, stopping charges, absorbing mortal wounds, stuff like that. But otherwise, I don't like land raiders are still too damned expensive. Even with the AOC making them better by
Yes.
proxy,
Yes.
265 points is still too much.
Too much. The Rhino with the AOC is really nice now. It's really nice now, I think. But then again, I think the movement options we have quite a few. But as you were saying, there are other ways to use them. I would really love to play like some of the new vehicles, but I don't know. At the moment, too expensive,
Yeah,
and they
I
don't do
agree.
much. They don't do much.
Yeah. I mean, I hope we get to use that new 30k Land Raider in 40k because it
I
has.
haven't I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen
All
that
right,
one.
so I don't know what the points are. I don't know if it will get
Okay.
40k rules, but it's a Land Raider from 30k. It has 8 las cannons, and you can put on 2 more.
What the hell?
Which is a total meme choice right now, but like, holy shit, that would be hilarious to roll 10
I,
las cannons. With my
I
luck, they
think
would all either miss or not wound or do 1
wow.
damage, but it'd be fun to roll out that many. Anyway,
I think I have to look into 30K. They seem to have all the nice stuff.
it looks like a cool model. It's like a
Yeah.
land raider that went fully back to World War One.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and the tracks go all the way up and over it, like it's on the outside.
Ah,
Yeah.
looks kind of similar to what I think was in second edition, or like these very very old models. I don't remember from
Oh yeah.
when,
I
but
mean, if
yeah, I
you
remember that.
yeah, I mean like the Rhino is an M113 tracked APC
Yeah.
that the United States and NATO used forever. I think they're still being used for some stuff. I mean, it's straight up just like a slightly tweaked M113. And then the
Okay.
Land Raider is effectively a World War One tank. I don't remember the name, but it's just blown up to a huge proportion.
Very cool. Very cool.
It has a capacity of 25 with all those last cannons on it? You're
What
kidding.
the hell? That can't be right. But
That's
hey, it's
incredible.
30K. They get all the good stuff. They get all the good stuff.
So you can drop, what, 7 Terminators out of that bad boy?
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. No,
Nice.
we have to see how that goes. No, but I really hope they will do something for the vehicles. I think they really need it. And it would be fun to play. But we have to see how that will end up being.
Yeah. Um, all right, so going down our list of things, so I don't know. I'm gonna change your question slightly, not from what do I think Space Marines 2.0 will give us, but more what I would have liked to see from the supplement from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
This is, and
Yeah.
I don't think my opinion is like, it's not a hot take here. This is not something crazy, but I would have loved to see um I would have loved to see us be able to use suppressors in a kill team. I think suppressors. I think they're modeled like a Phobos unit, but I think they have the Gravis keyword. No,
No, no. They are
sorry.
just the
I mean,
regular ones.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
just
I
the
meant
regular ones, which is
Tacticus.
weird. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I
Exactly.
meant Tacticus. I don't know why I said Gravis. Um, but so that would be cool in a Fortis team because I would
Yep.
love to have. So first of all, I'd love to turn off Overwatch on stuff because in my meta right now, in like my local meta at the last RTT, there were 2 Iron Warriors players that brought Greater Brass Scorpions. So this is a
Oh,
525 point Lord of War giant Chaos Scorpion, and you don't want to charge those things. They have like 30 goddamn flamers. Like they're terrible. So I want to turn off Overwatch somehow, but in AOR you can't bring suppressors and you can't bring a whirlwind, so you can't really just turn them off.
yeah.
I would love it for that. Also, they're very fast and usually they're ignored, so you could use them to do Rand really easily. You could also drop them from Deep Strike if you combat squatted them. Fortunately, we don't have access to suppressors. Damned Legion says make the Corvus Blackstar core. The Corvus
I
is
agree.
a yeah. I don't disagree with that change specifically. The Corvus is in a weird spot though. It's not a gunship. It's not a
Yeah.
transport. It's not a bomber. It does all those
Yeah.
things and it doesn't do them that well. It does the
Yeah.
transport thing fine. Like it's 12,
Yeah.
12 models. Like it's fine for that. But like it's got the bomb, which do like nothing most of the time. But you know that that's costing points on the data sheet. Like you know that they have figured out in some algorithm that the bomb dropping is worth 30 points or something,
Yeah.
right? So that's 30 points they're not getting in something else. Like I would love to see, for instance, the bombs just get dropped entirely and then we just get the hurricane bolters all the time for free. That would be nice. Las cannons in general I just think need to go to like 2d3 damage because
Yeah.
you get 2 shots. If you awaken it, you're gonna hit on 2s. You're gonna wound, let's say, on 2s, and then you're gonna roll 1 damage if you're me. That's the way it always works for me. It's like either miss, fail to wound, or I roll like 1 damage, and that feels
Yes.
so bad when you shoot
This
a
feels
las
very
cannon and
bad.
do 1 damage.
I don't like anything that's swingy. I just don't like
Yeah,
it. It never works for
D6.
me. It never
Yeah,
works for me. It never
yeah.
works.
D6 is rough.
Yeah,
I
but I
have
think you were sorry. I think you were really onto something with the Fortis. I think they completely messed up the Fortis with the intercessors as the default troops.
yeah assault.
Because well, there are the veteran intercessors. They exist. No one ever plays them. But if we could have them as the mandatory tax for the Fortis, that would be fantastic. Because
Even at
they
their
can,
increased price, like aren't they?
well,
Aren't
they
they
are a
like
little.
another 2 or 3 points more expensive per dude?
They are. But I think Space Marine troops in general should go a little down. So
Oh, I
maybe if
see what
they
you're
were
saying.
to go a little down, they would be now at what the intercessors
Yeah,
are. In which case they would be fantastic. And then you should be able to add far, far, far more units that you can do now. The suppressors you mentioned, or
yeah.
just like,
I
some other ones. And I
I
think
mean,
that would really help us out.
I would also love to see a Fortis kill team where you take 5 assault, intercessors as your base, and then maybe 5 blade guard.
Oh, the Blade Guard would be epic. But again, if you're taking the veteran intercessors, you can give them the assault intercessor gear.
Oh, you
So
can.
that's the
Oh,
cool
okay.
stuff. Yeah, you can, you
Okay.
can. That's the cool stuff. So you can
Okay.
actually decide, do I want a ranged one or do
Mm,
I want, the other guys? And I think that would really help us.
yeah. I
But hey,
know I know folks are like poo-pooing Blade Guard right now because of the AOC changes, but like -4 in Assault Doctrine is still good. And like
if we
if
could
you're
take
in
them, I would.
yeah, if you're in melee, and I know they don't get the AOC change because they have
Yeah,
storm
because they have
shields.
the shield. Yeah,
Yeah, but like I was playing a Deathwatch player on Monday with my Grey Knights, and he had
Mhm.
Blade Guard, and they were a tough nut to crack, man.
Yeah, they are. They
Even
are.
with -3 master crafted power weapons that the Grey Knights have now, like they're saving on 4s. They were surprisingly hard to kill.
Yep.
And they have 3 wounds, so even if a wound gets through, it takes 2 to actually kill one.
Yep.
Like they're pretty tough. Uh,
I had them in my list when the supplement was freshly out, and I love them. And I also think they are relatively cheap. And out of all the new stuff the Space Marine got, they are the only ones that did not increase in points because the Eradicators went up,
yeah,
the Outriders went up,
yeah,
the Plasma Inceptors went up,
yep.
but
Oh, the
they
plasma
stayed.
inceptors went up
No,
so
oh,
hard. Like why?
that
They
hurts. That hurts.
yeah.
I was running 5 of them. I was running five of
Me
them earlier.
me too. And
That
like
hurts.
plasma was good, and a nerf may be warranted. I think it's bizarre that they raised the price of the Inceptor and not the price of the plasma guns for the
They
Inceptor.
lowered the Inceptor by 5, the default Inceptor, which is actually now very affordable. But then they increased each gun by like 10 or something ridiculous like that.
Oh, they
I think
did. Oh,
I
okay.
think the
So they did
base
do
is
it that way.
40, and then basically you get 10 per each gun, which
Yeah.
brings them to 60 or whatever. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I
That's
used to
crazy.
roll with 5 as well
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah. That
like
was
the
that was nice.
plasma was just
That
so
was nice.
-5 in tactical. Yes, please. um,
Yes.
yeah. And then I don't know. Like I said earlier, I'd like to see our stratagems for our anti-Xeno stuff like
Yep.
reworked because it's just
Yep.
there's one or two that stand out as there's one that's really good against Eldari. That one where you just ignore all modifiers to like BS skill and stuff. That's incredible. And that's the way it's phrased. It's not you ignore like hit penalties. It's you also ignore changes to your ballistic skill. So it makes you really reliable into them. But like our Necron one is super situational. It is so hard for them to ever bring back like a 3 wound model or anything tougher. So like you never need it for those. You want it for warriors because it halves the amount of warriors that they're gonna bring back, which is or immortals, I guess, as well. And then um, the Nid one isn't very compelling either. I wish what it would do is like if you targeted that unit, they couldn't benefit from synapse.
Oh yeah, that would be
Like
nice.
that would be
Yep.
amazing. Because
Yep.
right now the way the Nid army works is like you can have neurothropes or zonethropes. I always forget. It's like the brain
Whatever they're
bugs.
called. Yeah.
They can like send their buffs down through their like hive link or whatever and hit some unit that's in melee. It'd be nice to be like I use my synapse scrambler. Now you can't like that unit can't get any like synapse buffs except maybe the morale stuff. Because it would be feels bad if you just turned off morale on like um some gaunts and just killed 7 of them and forced them to run away. That would feel bad for the. It'd be funny for us. It'd feel bad for them.
Well, the thing with the anti-Xeno strats, at least to me, it's a bit, in a way, yes, we have them, and yes, I think we should be able to use them. But on the flip side, if the thing is too strong, I
Yeah,
think is getting a little unfair. So I think they are hard to do them properly. but still they should rework them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will see how that goes.
I would also like to see somebody mentioned this earlier in chat that like I'd like to see it where we have more options for Castellan of the Black Vault to give to our
Yeah.
sergeants.
Yes.
Like the options we have aren't that compelling. We have like artificer armor, and then there's some cheeky stuff you can do with an assault centurion sergeant if you give them the special bolt cash or whatever.
Yeah,
But
exactly. That's
like
the only one.
those
That's
are
like the only one who's
yeah.
nice. But the rest is like, come on, guys. No, I thought also that's a little limiting, I must say, and I wish we had just generally more options. But hey, now that we
um,
have to conserve all the CP, maybe it's for the better that that thing is not that good.
so there's a question about the Necron strat. It's like any other strat. You can use it once per phase. So you can use it in the shooting phase, then charge that same unit and use it again in the fight phase, if I remember right. So I don't think it's relative. It's just whenever they make a reanimation roll, it's not phase specific. So theoretically, you could even use it like if they drop down on their turn and you aspect scan them, you could even use it then if you really wanted to.
Oh wow.
But like it's so specific into Necrons, it's only good into one wound models because three
Yeah.
wound models probably aren't going to come back anyway. Anything higher than that has an almost zero chance of actually reanimating. So, it's very good, but situational.
Yeah, situational. Yeah, yeah.
The Tau
But
one somebody brought up in chat,
uh,
like, yeah,
did they ever fix that thing? Because I think with the new Tau codex, the marker lights don't work as they used to.
they don't.
They,
That's
I
yeah.
don't think they ever FAQ'd that.
Well,
So
that's their point. Like, is that because marker lights changed, the Tau one is less good. It's still decent. Like, like you've got your Indom team. The Tau player knows that that's like probably your greatest range threat if you're playing AOR. So they're gonna put like 5 marker lights on them, fire at it with 1 unit, and then you just remove all the marker lights. It's actually not terrible. Not for one CP. So big fan of that one. It lets the Tau player still use their marker alliance, but they have to be smarter about how they use them. Like they're not just a passive buff for the whole phase. It's like they have to shoot at it with what they really think can do damage because they know the marker lights are going to go away.
and then it's not so bad in the end. I think I have to reread it then because I remember when the codex dropped, I was looking into it, and but it's been a while.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, the strat says that after the unit has been shot at by the first Tau unit, you then remove all marker lights.
Okay, okay.
So instead of them going down by 1 pip after they just you remove all of them. So if you get hit by 5, not that that will ever happen now, but if you get hit by 5, they fire at you with like some breachers. You go, are you sure? Because your storm surge might want those marker lights, and then you're like, whoop! You just take all the lights off. So that one's good.
This one, yeah.
Let's see. Going through chat here. Hades is asking us, what's a nice combo of Deathwatch specialists? I assume you mean specialisms. The thing for the AOR is you want to bring 2 Aquillas for sure.
That's mandatory,
because,
basically.
Yeah. Specialism Extremist straight up says that the kill team can only use Specialism Extremists if it matches the battlefield role from the specialism they have matches the battlefield role of their target, except Aquila, which straight up says it can just do this strat. So
that one sits so ill with me because now the Aquillas, they are the cheapest. They
were already the best.
The best.
Yeah.
And I was kind of thinking maybe they knew, okay, the specialisms, we would have to rework them, maybe, possibly. We don't want to, so we're just doing this quick and dirty fix. But
Yeah.
I
Uh,
don't like it. I don't like it.
I like the specialisms. I don't mind them at all. I think they are.
No,
I think they are expensive.
they are very
And they were
expensive, but I,
so much more expensive when the
oh,
book first hit. They were like twice as expensive as they are now.
crazy, crazy. No, I also think, I think that's actually nice about the AOR. Before the AOR, no one ever had one. Well, except I think the firewall list. Oh, we should talk a couple minutes about the firewall list anyway.
Yeah,
But
from
I think like
Deathwatch, SH.
yeah, exactly. So basically the
Yeah.
firewall list, I think it had one or two. And I have to say, I also had, like in my original list, like one, sometimes two, and they are not so bad once you get used to it. And I think now that we have to take them, people have figured out, well, okay, they are expensive, but they are not so bad once you have them.
They are not bad.
At least
Um,
I like them,
the
just too expensive. And not on
so
all of the units. That's what I don't like.
the I mean, my immediate thought there is like they are good. I like them. Like we were saying earlier, they suck into salamanders now.
They do, they
Um,
do.
the big catching point, though, and find myself doing this too, is that you don't get the full rerolls unless you stay in the Deathwatch chapter tactic. But you do get, so Adama Inatus, even if will always get reroll ones, regardless of the chapter tactic that you're in, against
Mhm,
elites. But you
mhm.
don't get the full rerolls unless you're in, unless you have the
Xenos
Xenos
Bane,
Bane
Xenos Bane's
aura.
no one
Yeah,
ever take it.
yeah.
But I think, wasn't Michael Costello the one arguing that you still get the benefits because the description of the chapter tactics
He,
doesn't say that it actually has to be active? I was hearing something like that on one of the
I,
interviews. I was just thinking, man, that's cheesy. I
I
don't
thought
think.
he specifically meant the reroll ones. I don't think he meant reroll all wounds.
Okay, okay, okay,
I think he meant the reroll ones. Like,
okay, okay.
because the Dominatus upgrade is on the unit, and it doesn't say that it requires the Xenos Bane chapter tactic to be active, but the chapter tactic says that you get reroll all wounds if your kill
If it
team
matches.
specialism
Yeah.
matches what you've picked.
Okay, yeah, true,
So
true, true,
that's the
true.
way I've been playing it. But again, this is another little gotcha thing. Like, this army is so complicated, has so
It
many
is
moving
very
parts. Like, this
complicated.
is
Yeah,
another
yeah,
thing that
it's
can
crazy.
really, really hose you if you're not
It's
careful. Like,
absolutely crazy.
yeah. So, Kakalmaka, ugh, I probably just butchered the shit out of that.
I would butcher that name as well.
Is saying you still get the full reroll. Man, I
Yeah,
now
see,
like
exactly. See, but
I have
that's the thing.
that makes it so much better.
Yeah, no,
Like,
but the thing is, that's one of the things I also think needs an FAQ. I mean, seriously. Because, it can go one way or it can go the other way, depending on how people want to read it or not.
huh?
I'm not entirely
I
sure. I always read it as not working, but I've heard
okay.
people making the claim that it does. And, well, I have to say,
Oh.
I don't really know how to interpret these
I'm
kind of rules
like
correctly.
I'm confident this came up in one of my discussions with Mike. Like,
Okay.
I'm sure we talked about this, and I came away from that with the idea that you still got the reroll ones, but folks are definitely saying, "Oh, I see. Yeah,
You
okay.
see, you
The
see.
rules as written is that you do
Yeah,
get to reroll
yeah,
still.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
okay.
Sneaky. I think
Yeah.
it's a little cheesy, but
Well,
hey.
I played that wrong throughout my whole RTT. I played against Necrons, and I actually spent 2 CP to put my melee team into Xenos 100 chapter
Yeah.
tactic so that they could get all of
Ah,
their rerolls.
oh
I didn't
no.
realize they okay.
Yeah, that's the
Whoops.
thing. Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay. Well, my bad. Like, again, I'm just a guy with a microphone who's getting into Warhammer. Like, I'm not.
Exactly, exactly.
Folks put a lot of like weight on my words, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing, which is very evident.
I would say the same about me. It's just me wearing the sexy headset, but
That's awesome. Like I could,
Just the guy with the headset.
yeah. I did not. Yeah, I have not been playing it that way. I was thinking. I was basically thinking of these specialisms as a points tax, so you could use specialism
Yeah,
extremis.
yeah. Well,
That makes it even
that's
worse into salamanders now.
yes, it does. It
No.
does. It does. I really don't look forward to playing any salamanders ever at this point, but hey, we will see how that will go. But anyway, I think we have to do like a 5 minutes firewall chat
Sure.
in honor of the firewall list.
Of Deathwatch SH.
Yes, exactly.
Deathwatch
So I'm
Shanghai, I think is what the SH
yes,
is supposed
now
to
now
mean.
now I'm gonna give a little flack to some other, let's say, sites again, but it's okay. You can say it was all the Swiss guy. It's always the Swiss guy. It wasn't you. It was no. But what I really thought is like at the beginning when the supplement was fresh, the faction just didn't get anywhere. It's like people were still playing like the old 8th edition style of lists, and at the event it just didn't work. And I think the firewall list, they did a really they did a lot of nice stuff with the faction, I think.
I haven't
But
seen that
it
list in
didn't
so
get
long. I'm trying to
it didn't
remember.
get it didn't get the attention I think it deserved. When it had he had the Indomitor with this really nice mixed combo, like with the Flamestorm aggressors, like 2 or 3 plasma inceptors, heavy intercessor. Like he moved them in the middle. Then he had the Fortis with the Outriders, a Fortis with the
So
um, Assault Hellblasters,
yeah,
and the
F-
and the Redemptor and
SH.
Servitors.
Yeah.
Yes,
SH really did, and he used Outriders for move blocking mainly
exactly,
because you
exactly,
could
exactly,
transhuman them, and they were actually pretty
exactly.
tanky at that point. He did a lot of work to make people want to run Hellblasters. I mean, I think I started running Hellblasters because of him, and then now we have the Ass Blaster joke. Um,
Exactly. And I think
and
he
then
also put like one of or two of the specialisms in. I think it was the first list I saw that I really felt, okay, that one is playing into the faction.
yeah, he always put Dominatus at the time on his
Yeah, yeah.
Indomitor team because elites were everywhere. Like you were
Well,
basically
and I
fighting
think
Space Marines
now,
all the time. So
yeah, exactly. And I think now we should do that again because now I think elites are also kind of
yeah,
coming back. So,
yeah,
so full circle on that one.
yeah. My melee teams are Dominatus. My shooting teams are um Aquila, and then this new list where I'll have a third melee team. I think I ran Venator. I did that mostly because of Custode bikes and
Uh,
because it's one of the cheaper ones. If I'm
yeah,
completely
exactly.
honest,
At
like
some point, you have to make the fifth
yeah,
pick, and I don't really want to make the fifth pick. But what's left to do?
yeah.
What's left to do?
Um, I will point out though that the supplement dropped at a really weird time because it gave us the Indomitor kill team, the Gravis Armor kill team, but for like 8 months you couldn't even get the heavy intercessor models. They weren't available, and they were only available from Kill Team Pariah
Yeah,
Nexus.
exactly. When they finally came months later, came in that bloody kill team box. Oh my god! Oh my god! That was hilarious. And to this day, I still only build 5 because I don't think I'm ever
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
run
the
two
same way.
Indomiters.
Yeah,
Come on, come on.
I
I
got
saw a
5.
list the other day. I think he was playing at an event this month when I think the guy had like three, three Indomiters. I'm like, dude,
I
3 Indomiters.
know. I saw that
What
too.
else? What else are you
Yeah.
gonna squeeze into that list? That was
Yeah,
crazy.
the only way people were running them legally at the time is they were buying eradicators and then converting them.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Which is awesome. I think
Yes.
somebody actually said in here, yeah, so Philip says that all of his are converted. But at the time, if I remember right, you could only get eradicators out of the Indomitor box.
Indomiters
So
box.
you
Yeah,
had to
good luck.
go, or yeah, in Dominus box. So then you had to go on eBay and spend like $60 for three little infantry models because people knew what they had. You know,
Or
it's
you
like, woo.
buy 5 of the Indomitus boxes, and then you also had your 15 Outriders.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, and then you have 37 lieutenants and 15 captains to round it all out.
Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Which actually
Um,
brings me to another great point. Like something I have always tried to look into with my channel is like if a guy is starting freshly out with the faction,
yeah, this is a
what would
great
you
topic.
recommend for them to get? Because I think it's not that simple, and
You
I kind of don't want the answer to be 15 Outriders or
you mean
like 5
models?
Turrets.
What are they
Yes,
get for
yes,
models?
yes, exactly. Something that they can keep using, because I think what's kind of weird, or let's say a little strange compared to the oldest edition, stuff changes so fast. To give a recommendation for a new player to invest into something that will still be good in, let's say, 4 months, 6 months,
Yeah.
it's getting
So
harder and harder.
yeah, like this is the problem with what I was saying at the beginning, where I want to make a get starting with Deathwatch like video
Yep,
series where we talk about,
yep,
what books to buy, what's the,
yep.
or actually we would start with like how does this army play, and then we go into what books we need, and then we go into modeling, and the modeling part is hard because like, I came from Grey Knights. We had 3 melee weapon choices, and then some of our units get to pick between 2 different or 3 different ranged like special weapon options. That's it. That is the whole damn codex for my infantry. Then I went to Deathwatch and I looked at the Proteus kill team, and I just like my eyes glazed over.
That's, yeah,
Like I have 40 options in ranged
yeah.
and melee, and then if you do any combinations of that, it's like impossible to have, unless you want to fill your garage with thousands of Deathwatch veteran models that are all glued with every combination of like weapon option ever. You have to magnetize.
Yes, the first thing you buy as a new player is magnets.
Yeah, exactly. Like I
And
can't imagine
then you
trying.
play the
Yeah, I can't imagine trying to run my army right now without
no,
magnets.
no, no.
And then
I have all my stuff is magnetized.
in chat, Hades or Hades says like 3D printing is the key for Deathwatch, and I agree. For things like arms and pauldrons,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
backpack,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like all of my Primaris, I 3D printed Deathwatch. So somebody made the Primaris helmets, and they added the like Deathwatch eye lens and stuff. So I've got they have the eye lens and
Yeah, yeah,
the,
yeah. Yeah,
and then I
yeah.
also I 3D printed. I actually changed a model. I put the Deathwatch targeter on the back of a backpack model, so all of my Primaris have like the Deathwatch targeters on their backpacks, and they have the eyepieces. And I thought that was awesome. Like that's very Deathwatch.
Yeah,
I still have the model. I still bought the Games Workshop models, but I added all this cool stuff to them without um, changing them too much. But yeah, except for my Primaris, I have everything magnetized.
yeah,
Because
me
you
too, me too.
like,
Oh, I even magnetized most of those because then you can switch the assault intercessors, and the intercessors, there are options. The
so
eradicators
yeah,
and the heavy intercessors,
yeah,
fully exchangeable.
yeah.
It's very
I
cool.
think you can just do the magazines on the the heavy
I did that one as well.
intercessors,
I did
right?
that
Yeah,
one as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
yeah,
magazines you can magnetize, but it's a lot of work, and I don't want to do it again. That's why I
yeah.
only have 5, and
That
they will remain as 5.
I actually started to follow your video on magnetizing eliminators, and then I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm
Oh,
not.
yeah.
I'll just. I have bolt eliminators. I'm fine. Um, but for Proteus, like for a starting player, I would say buy a couple of the Deathwatch
The
veteran
veteran kit. Yeah.
boxes, maybe a Terminator box.
Vanguard veterans have a lot
Yeah.
of nice looking parts, jump packs.
And
Yeah.
then you can at least make like a couple. If you can get like 3 kill teams and an HQ, you can at least start like playing 1,000 point games. Deathwatch plays awful at 500 points. Like you have 1 kill team and 1 HQ. That is your list. You are a patrol. with one kill team
Yeah, and
and
that's it. That's it.
and like one watchmaster. That's all you can fit.
That's
It plays so bad. I would
yeah.
never recommend Deathwatch at a
No, no.
500 point
I
level.
had viewers ask me
Uh,
like about 400 points list, and I'm like, wow, there's not much. There's not much you can do at 500 points.
yeah,
And I would even argue at 1K, I don't like playing them at 1K either. It's
yeah,
just
I don't either.
no,
Like
no, no.
2K is where the game is balanced. I think like 2K is
Yeah,
what feels decent. You
yeah.
have enough stuff where like if you make a mistake, you have a follow-on unit. You know, where like if you make a mistake in a 1,000 point game and you lose a unit, you're done. Like
Like that's it.
that's like half your
I have
army.
nothing
Yeah.
left.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would highly recommend that they start with firstborn stuff unless they're
Yeah, me too.
super into certain, like if they are personally really into the Indomitor team, then hey, you got to go find heavy intercessors somewhere, probably eBay. You gotta or you know 3D print them. You gotta find aggressors, and then you gotta find one inceptor. Like the strengths of our army make it so hard to start collecting, right?
It's true. It's true. It's true.
Like
Yeah.
actually the start collecting box ain't bad because you get an apothecary, you get another lieutenant, but I guess you can just kit bash him into whatever you want.
Yes,
Um,
well, now that the aggressors are actually being played, I think that is a really nice pick. But, like I would say for the first, I don't know, 8 months of the supplement, no one ever
yeah,
played the aggressors. It
yeah.
was like, okay,
Well, aggressors got hit so hard. Like at first, didn't they even lose core or something? Or they just went way
no,
up
that
in
was the
points.
Centurions. The Centurion lost everything. The aggressors lost the ability to shoot twice.
Ah, that's
And
what it was. They took away
that
the
hurt. That
double
hurt.
shooting
Yes,
strat.
yes,
That's right.
yes. Well, the Centurions, they removed everything from them. Everything.
Yeah, I remember that. The Centurions they remove core, so they can't get rerolls, except in Deathwatch where we can give them wound rerolls of one.
Yeah. Well, I
Um,
think we play the assault variant very nicely, in fact.
yes, yes we do.
We do, we do.
And then they lost
The rapid fire thing, they don't have it.
yeah, they lost Bolter discipline.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And yeah, there wasn't so much left.
Yeah,
There
it's
wasn't so much left.
and Ocho is in chat. He's a long time subscriber of mine. He is up in Seattle, which is not far from me, and he does amazing videos on LEDs, by the way. So if any of
Oh,
you
wow.
are interested in like looking at how to magnetize ass blasters and they actually have them glow, like their plasma actually glows, he's got some great stuff. And Ocho, if you're watching this, uh, Temor here
I was gonna say,
on SwissHammer also has some super awesome LED
I have done so
tutorials.
much
So
LED stuff. I really have to check him out. I was not aware of that channel, but I will have to check him out now.
yeah,
I'm
you should.
always interested to learn more about the whole LED work.
He Ocho does great stuff. I think every vehicle he has, so he has like 10,000 points of guard or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, dude. But
Okay.
he's magnetized like or he's put LEDs into like every gun in the whole army. So and I think a lot of them have speakers so that they make like pew 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 noises and stuff.
I have
Yeah.
speakers as well, so I think I really have to check him out. That's very cool. That's
Oh,
very
it's
cool.
15,000. My bad. He's got 15,000 points of guard. Um,
Really, you're bad, yeah.
Ocho is chatting in chat right now, so if you want a link to his
Nice Ocho
channel,
miniatures. I'm gonna
yeah.
check him out. I'm gonna check him out.
If you're listening to this later, it's Ocho Miniatures, and he's on the tube of views. So I do have to let you know I'm down to about a 15-minute maximum time limit here, and then I have to go to work.
No, no, I get it. We said like 6 p.m. my time, but I'm okay with staying a couple minutes more. I have to say that 2 hours kind of flew away.
I told you 2 hours was gonna go by like
Haven't even
yeah.
asked or like said all the stuff there is to say, but it's okay. It's okay. I
Yeah.
mean,
Uh,
we have to get started somewhere. We have to get started
so
somewhere.
I know you had some stories on here, so I'll tell one of mine from my latest RTT. I still do not have a mental idea of how much an Indominator kill team that's fully buffed and then using Specialism Extremist can actually kill.
I
So
hear you. Yeah.
here's my two. This came up at my last RTT. My first game, I had a 30-man melee gaunt team like moving up on me, and I'm like, I don't want those there. So I popped Specialism, and I wasn't even done with the aggressors by the time they all died. Like the
Okay.
because the
Okay.
aggressors like the frag storms were all doing maximum hits. I was in tactical, so they were only saving on like sixes, and I just wiped the whole squad. So my Inceptor and my heavy intercessors, their shooting was totally wasted. I could have targeted them into another unit, still used the specialism to get more
Yeah.
wounds on something else, but I had no idea how much they can kill. They murdered that 30-man gaunt squad. It wasn't even close. Like my opponent's making like rolling. He's like, that's seven
What?
more.
All
That's
dead.
eight
All dead.
more. That's eight more. Okay, that's the whole. And I'm like, but I'm not done. So then
But
in
I
my
think, yeah, I think that's one of the hardest
yeah,
challenges.
you
I think
have to.
also for me it's like split firing properly, especially if you're like using stratagems and everything. Wow, wow. Yeah, if it
Yeah,
goes
man.
to waste, it's such a shame. It's
Yeah.
such a shame.
So then on my last game against Necrons, he brought 3 Doomsday arcs. I dropped my Indom team. I've got them all buffed, everything. They're in Imp Fists, and I split fire on into two of them. And I killed one, and I brought one down to 1 wound. And I'm like, yes, that is efficiency right there.
Nice, nice,
So
nice.
an Indom team buffed, like hitting on twos, rerolling ones, specialism extremists with Imp Fists can reliably nearly kill. Actually, if he rolled a little colder on his saves, it will reliably kill 2 Doomsday Arcs. It's a lot of CP, but that's also a lot
No, but it's worth. Yeah, no,
of their
of course,
army
of course, of
too.
course.
Yeah. So that's my
Yeah.
latest Deathwatch story.
Wow.
Do you have one?
I was thinking, well, not necessarily about the watch, but what would be funny maybe to tell is back in third edition, the rules were not quite the same as in ninth edition. And I was playing when we started playing, I was playing a friend. He was he had orcs, and I think orcs, well, they can still do it. You can use stuff of like other factions and like model it and whatever and play it in the orcs army. And he had a weapon that he hit like at the very far back of the field, and it could fire like near infinitely across the whole battlefield. But he had to say back in those days how far it would shoot, like, you had to say, I don't
Oh,
know, I'm
so he's
shooting
like,
like
I got
40 inches or whatever, and then you
okay.
have to see like where it lands, and then you have to roll, and depending on how you roll, like the hit goes, it can go like either way. And well, one of my favorite moments is basically when he's hitting his own troops.
Oh
He
no.
really, because it's orcs, and he really reliably hit his own troops with that weapon. Until the day, of course, where he hit me in the center of my army and like killed like all the stuff. Because I always thought the guy is gonna miss anyway. That
So,
one day came. Like,
so all right. So hold on. I have so many questions. So I
okay,
didn't play in third, obviously. So
yeah.
you're saying orcs had a special rule where if they were modeled with a weapon from another army, they could still use it?
Well, all I think, all I remember, they had looted stuff.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he could take these artillery weapons from the
Guard or
Imperial
something.
Guards
Yeah.
and put them into the orcs. I don't know how much of that stuff they can still do to this day. I haven't
I don't
really
think they can
played
do
it,
any of that
but
now. I mean, I
but
see orc players modeling anything as anything,
all
which is
kind of
great,
weird stuff. Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I don't think they get to like take a full payload manticore because they bought one, and then painted it red. You know what I mean? Like,
And then it's faster because it's red,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I honestly I heard stories about like where you would declare a target, but you would measure after to see if you could eat like were even in range and stuff. That honestly sounds awful. Like
There was
I
a lot.
don't.
There was a lot of bad stuff. There
Yeah,
was a lot of bad stuff. Also, I think like with the vehicles, you had the armor values like across the
armor
vehicles.
facings.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus
Where
Christ.
like stormbolters could do nothing from the front or
No, no.
whatever. Yeah, like bolt.
But
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. But the thing is, well, I'm not saying we should go back to that because that was so swingy. That was
yeah.
so swingy.
I don't think
What?
anybody would think that you're saying we should go back to that. But
No, no, but I think it would maybe solve the issues we have with some of the vehicles if only really the high strength weapon would actually do stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, you mean like there's
That's
just no way you could ever
you can
wound on
just
a 6 with like a stormbolter or
exactly,
whatever.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly because you can still if you hit on a six, yeah, that's but I don't know. We have to see what
I
will
mean, that would
so
fix vehicles, but that could kill the AOR.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Unless they
Well,
keep
maybe
in
we
the
will get a
auto
new
wounding
AUR.
stuff, but yeah.
Maybe we'll get a new AUR. Who knows?
Yeah, looted stuff sounds hilarious. Like honestly, being an orc
That was
player
hilarious.
for modeling just seems great. Like one of my friends was talking about he was making some orc commandos and he saw online like some guy had bought so you know the barrels from Barrel of Monkeys and they're like this big
Okay.
and then he just glue on orc legs and arms to this barrel because he's camouflaged.
Ah,
And I'm
okay,
like,
okay.
that is the
Yeah,
funniest DM model ever, and I would totally allow that like on my stream. That's
that's awesome.
so
That's
such a
awesome. Awesome.
stupid proxy, but so orky. Like
It's very cool.
he's like, I'm in a barrel. You can't see me. I'm hidden. Arms sticking out.
We can do a lot with our factions, but orcs can do more. Orcs can do more.
I mean, we can do almost as much. Like I made a crack in the Deathwatch channel the other day or a few months ago or whatever. Like every Space Marines kit is a Deathwatch
It's a
kit.
Deathwatch kit. Oh
Yeah,
yes, it is. It is. It
like
is.
before my last or before I went on to the One Last Blade channel, I realized I needed like 5 more Terminators. I ran down to my local store. I had like 4 days to build, paint, magnetize all these models. And I'm like, do you guys have any Terminators? And they're like, what kind of Terminators are you looking for? And I said,
Me.
Terminators? I play Deathwatch. I don't care.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we have these Wolfguard Terminators. I'm like, yes, I'll take those. Perfect. Like now I have some really cool space wolf. Like they've got the pelts and the big cloaks and, you know, all the little like dangly rabbit's foot looking stuff and the runes. I'm like, perfect. Yes, I will paint them in Space Wolves. And then now I have some Space Wolves Terminators. This is fantastic.
Problem solved. Problem solved.
Yeah.
Couldn't be easier. Couldn't be
Yeah.
easier.
It's like, oh, you only have a command squad for Dark Angels. They're still Terminators. Yoink. Like, I can play those
I
too.
take it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There are few things we cannot use, and that's very cool.
Yeah. Well, it's been 2 hours. I knew we would get through 2 hours, no problem. I feel like we could probably go another two, no problem, at all, because we have so much to talk
I'm gonna
about.
save it for another time.
Yeah, but we should definitely do this again. I, however, have meetings starting in just a few minutes, so
Oh,
I
wait.
need to bounce. But thank you everybody for showing up. Thank you, Temor, for being on the show. Is there anything you want to plug? Anything coming out that anybody would want to swing by? Your
Oh
channel
well,
for?
thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very much for having me. It was much fun. Yeah, I think we should do it again.
We should.
Um, I'm
Uh,
not gonna self-advertise. That's not the Swiss way to do it. But I
okay.
think people will find me if they want to hear more, and that'll be that.
Well, I'll do it for you. Be sure to go to his channel on YouTube. It's called SwissHammer. He has excellent breakdowns almost every month about all the latest Deathwatch armies that are doing well in the competitive scene. So you should definitely check that out. As I said earlier, he has a lot of tutorials about magnetization and adding LEDs to your miniatures. So if that's the kind of hobbying you like, you'll like that too.
Awesome. Thank you for the advertisement. And actually, yes, next Monday, the next video about April events is coming out. So guys might want to check that one out with all the crazy lists, triple Indomitor and whatever else we saw during April. There is a lot of fun stuff in
Yeah,
there.
I saw some pretty interesting lists. I saw like a double
Oh yeah.
Corvus list. I
Yeah, that
saw
one, that one.
a that's Terrence Drew, I think. He runs that stuff all the time. And then I saw one that had like two, maybe three Indomitor kill teams or something in it,
This
which
is
is
crazy.
insane. But
It's
you know,
insane.
yeah. So stand by for some awesome Meta Watch stuff. And I will end the stream now because otherwise I will just keep talking. But
Perfect.
thank you everybody,
Thank you very
and
much.
don't forget